Boop, 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 boop. I'm the Serfs. Actually, I'm not. I'm doing this intro for the Serfs because the Serfs wanted me to do this intro to talk about movies. Movies, movies. You like movies. We like movies. Everybody loves movies. Well, some people don't, but they suck. There's a lot of. I don't know if I could rank them. There's a lot of bad. There was one where I reviewed Sharknado 1 and 2, and
It's always Sharknado.
it was so this, I don't know if you're aware of this, but it's from a company called the Asylum, right?
Yep.
And Sharknado was one of the first films that they had made, which was technically an original property and was successful. Their entire company was built off of making rip-off films that they've gone to court over many times, and in some cases they've had to make changes and or settle or lost. Like very clearly shady. Obviously, they're trying to trick people into thinking that their property is the more successful one. So they'll look at which Pixar movies are in development, which big Hollywood budget movies are in development, ones that take like several years to make. They'll make one really, really quickly. They'll call it Transmorphers and then put it on the DVD shelves. And some confused grandma trying to buy a Christmas gift for her grandson is going to pick that up. And that's how they made their money. And they had never lost any revenue on a single film. They took it to an extreme degree where I found their information. Like, sure, these channels exist on YouTube where you can fight your claim there, but what I wound up doing, because sometimes this helped back in the day, I don't do this as often anymore, but I would find the actual contact information for the studio, either email them or call them. They had a number that was publicly available, so I called them, and the receptionist started arguing with me. She's like, "No, because that's our footage, so you don't own it." I'm like, "What the?" It was the weirdest thing I'd ever experienced. It was the receptionist. I'm like, "You're not the content manager," and she was literally just like going off on this insane rant, yelling at me. And I recorded the whole thing, but I didn't release it because I just like, I don't know. I'm not kind of like a drama oriented person, and not everything needs to blow up.
Yeah.
Eventually, they released the claim when I got a hold of their actual content manager. But yeah, it was absolutely insane and hypocritical for a company that literally exists because they rip off other movies.
Yeah.
And they're trying to claim ownership over my fair use review of their film.
Is it not? Do they not fall under parody law? Is that what they're trying to do, or they don't claim to even be satirical?
Well, I'm not trying to make the argument that their entire film catalog shouldn't exist legally. It is kind of a gray area. It can be considered parody, but there's several factors that need to be determined in order to determine fair use. So the nature of the work, why does it exist, right? Whether or not you're monetizing it. No single one of these factors is completely determinable. You can't just say like, oh, because you're making money off of it, it's automatically not fair use. But due to the nature of their works, I would say there's a strong argument that it's not. It really it depends on the film. It depends how much they borrow from it, because they literally exist to trick people. It's not like one of those epic movie, date movie, disaster movie, Friedberg Seltzer things.
Yeah.
It's not where it's like we're making fun of it by referencing things. They're actively trying to compete in the market and take away from the revenue that the original is trying to produce. So
by exploiting consumers, basically.
Yeah. It really depends on the film, and yeah, it's technically not copyright infringement, but they in some cases I would say that it's reasonable that they would need to like change the title or the poster of their film when it's like obviously way too similar and they're just literally trying to rip people off.
So I was gonna say, I think that like everyone who's got a career like yours, you've been doing this for a while, you kind of start to, I don't know, form maybe like a villain archetype or something like that. And for yours, it seems to be M.Night Shyamalan. Like I don't know.
In a way,
I don't know how that came out.
Yeah,
but
he's a recurring character.
And those have to be my favorite of all your reviews, especially because they compounded over time, right? Like eventually, it feels like they broke you. Like there was only so much you could take.
It was definitely a downward spiral sort of event. It was definitely not. I don't know. You could argue that Split or whatever was like a bit of a redemption, but my argument would be that he wrote that back when he was making good movies.
Oh, is that true? I didn't know that.
No, yeah, he had the script since like just after Unbreakable or something, and then finally turned it into a movie. It's like, oh wait, he's good again, and it's like, oh wait, no, he's not. And then Glass comes out, and The Visit is also terrible.
Yeah, but that was the one that everyone was saying was such a good movie. I had friends who I respect telling me like, you have to go watch The Visit. Like he's tour de force. He's back.
I think it's a mixture of like low expectations and like, I don't know. People are really, really easily scared by formulated jump scares, and like there's really basic things you can do to manipulate an audience into feeling scared, and it works with a lot of people. And then B, really depending on the sense of humor you have, you might find the cringe rapping by the kid funny, but I just found it cringe. So
yeah, absolutely. And then I never saw The Last Airbender, but was that pretty much like, was that the peak for you? Was that as bad as he gets?
Well, honestly, my least, I don't know. I think I rated Glass the lowest out of all of them. Without spoiling anything, the conclusion of events is like the most unceremonious ending you could possibly write for these characters that makes it seem like M.Night didn't even care about these characters to begin with. I mean, I reviewed it, anybody can watch it, but that would, I rated that one the lowest. It might be my least favorite. There's both Glass and The Visit are so far off the deep end that I can't watch them for humor. Like, I don't know when the next time I'm going to watch Glass is going to be, if ever again. The Visit I watched again because I made like a longer review of it. But yeah, anything like The Last Airbender and After Earth, I think are hilarious movies. Like, I have them on Blu-ray, so I'll watch them anytime.
The Criterion Collection.
They're really funny. Yeah. That's the worst part about M. Night's filmography is he's never going to get a box set. No one who wants to watch The Sixth Sense is also going to want to watch The Last Airbender. They're two different demographics now, so we're never going to see a complete collection Blu-ray.
Oh, I guess that's true.
Nice, but I would buy it.
I mean, like your reviews, they're pretty brutal. Not the ones the YMS ones, but I just mean like your numbered scale. Like there's films that like I'm usually in sync with you in terms of like, you know, your best films of the year. And actually you're like your 2019 or 2018 lists or whatever. I don't know if 2019's out already, but like your year. Yeah, I was like, you're on 2015 or something.
Catch up on a bunch of them.
Yeah. But those compilations are usually like the back catalog that I go through to find like good movies of the year, and I usually sync up with you. But then every now and then I'll watch one where it's like, and I'm rating this one a 5 out of 10. I'm like, whoa, 10 is brutal. Like, did you get a lot of flack for that? At how?
Yeah, I do, of course, all the time.
Yeah,
that's like when, like it's when the majority of hate comes my way is when I dislike or think something is average that people love. My most disliked video of all time is my Detective Pikachu review of all things. My Detective Pikachu review. Yeah, like that one set people off somehow. I don't understand what happened there. Sometimes I have no idea which ones are going to make people really mad. My Mission Impossible review, like the newest one, that made people really mad. And I didn't even hate the movie. I just thought it was like average. I thought half of the movie was really great and half the movie was really boring. But yeah, I mean, like it depends on who you are as a person, your tastes, how you review things. There's a lot of people that think that a numbered scale, like anything below an 8 is bad, which I completely disagree with.
Oh, totally. I agree with you.
There's several movies that I rate 5 out of 10 that I enjoy watching and that, you know, I bought and I'll watch again, but like there's elements to it that I would just consider not that great, sort of thing.
What about with horror movies? Because like, you know a lot about horror movies, right? But like all the modern ones that everyone's like so wild over. I mean, you seem to be the only person who actually like when I saw that latest one, the one about the silence, I forget, John Krasinski's movie.
A Quiet Place.
Yeah, I walked out of that just like completely dumbfounded that it was so highly recommended to me. And then I was really happy to see someone like you actually be like, yeah, like there's so many holes in this. Like, why does no one else get this?
Yeah. And I mean, like, I wouldn't even say the biggest problem with the film are like necessarily the plot holes. And I made like a response video because, you know, that first one got a lot of backlash and I got like a couple things wrong about it. But the biggest reason to me why I'm not able to take the film seriously is that the characters and the logic of the film, like everything that a film should care about, like the dynamic and how these people are written, it was secondary towards the gimmick of the film. The entire movie, every single scene is literally just set up to be like, ooh, here's a scenario where they might not be able to keep quiet and these things will be there and something will happen where they'll be unable to keep quiet. It's like that nail flew through the floorboard. It's like, what was that? Like, there's so many things about it that are so stupid. Like, you don't sink in grain. You don't, unless there's like a flow coming from another end. And people were arguing with me about that too. It's so insane. They're like, actually, you're taught when you work in grain silo production factories.
You had actual grain silo farmers.
In my response video, I actually had to like dig up footage. I'm like, yeah, only if it's flowing. Like it literally, that's not how it works. But anyway, yeah, I wish that the conveniences were not the main priority of the film. It just it felt fake. It felt artificial. It felt manipulative, and that was my biggest issue. Nothing about it felt natural. It was literally just like, oh, this kid that survived here for so long somehow doesn't know that he's not supposed to make noise. Like he wants to play with this fire truck and put the batteries in and go wee woo wee woo. He doesn't even like. You'd think in that environment, if they've survived for so long, he would be like, oops, it made noise, or like, I made a mistake, but he doesn't even seem to get it. Like, I don't know how he survived that long for that to even happen. But yeah, I just, yeah, there's elements about it that are well done for sure. It looks nice. It's well shot. It's not, most of the performances are not terrible. The creature design is cool. And I wish that I could appreciate those elements without being distracted by just how manipulative the rest of the movie is. I want those elements in a movie that actually cares about how it's structured and cares about why things happen, not just it getting there no matter what.
Yeah, one of the last things I want to ask you about is we were talking about how some movies are just shitty, but obviously, like, you got a big love for movies that are so shitty they're incredible. And you were one of the first ones, I think, who brought Cool Cat Saves the Kids to the zeitgeist.
I wasn't one of the first. I was the first.
Oh, the first.
Literally the first.
Okay.
Yeah. No one. The only other thing that existed of that was people sharing the trailer. Everything is Terrible shared a link on their Facebook page, and that's how I found it. But I was literally the first Cool Cat review. I found something very special and wanted to share it with the world. So,
and then you got involved with him a little bit. Like, aren't you supposed to be in one of his newest movies?
Man, there's a whole lore that you need to catch yourself up on, but I don't know how long I could spend time. There's like 2 hours worth of lore here.
I know. Like, there's the copyright strike stuff, and you schooled them on what exactly is fair use. There's a
whole bunch of like crazy drama and hilarious bullshit. So, long story short, he blocked me on all of my Twitter accounts because I made a video addressing his copyright abuse, and I only made that video because he ignored my 2 separate emails that were both 10 paragraphs long, trying to explain to him what fair use was while he was copyright striking my friends and other people on the platform. And then him in his own like video being like, well, I studied copyright law, I was a lawyer, and that's stealing. That's you're scumbag if you do it. Adam from YMS, he'll back me up. He says I'm a good guy, and he publicly put my name out there in a position where that I don't agree with, and I told him I don't agree with, and it's like, okay, well, I have to put something out there because otherwise people think that I'm a hypocrite because my entire channel is based off of like fair use material. So he basically twisted my arm into doing it. And I was completely respectful and polite the entire time I did it while still calling him out on his bullshit. But yeah, he did not take kindly to that. And yeah.
Hey, you. Yes, you.
Do you like cozy environments with other wholesome people? Well then come join the Discord. It's got a whole bunch of stuff to help you with creative endeavors, such as stock footage, royalty-free music, and an amazing community of people looking to help each other out and uplift your content. Join the Discord now by going to weareserfs.com. That's weareserfs.com.
We would like to thank Miranda Marone. You are our monarch, and we thank you for our indentured servitude. We would like to thank our lords, Ricky Pilgrim, I'm Raft, Michaela Schmid, Tomospin, Ferrer Tahone. You are all the pillars of our organization. To our Knights of the Square Table, Paul Parafit, Daniel Kahn, Clement Chutskoff, Alan R., Josh Mickelson, and Dr. Zayas, Cooper Pilot, Andrea Lynn Epperly, Dylan Bythe, Terry, Todd Buckingham, and Todd Lajeunesse. And to our merchants, thank you for taking mercy upon us.